Welcome to the Green Room. My name is Danielle Kapiri, and thank you so much for joining me today. I am in the presence of class and sophistication and a genre that goes way back. Today I have Lebo Pangwa with me, and she's a trombone player, Miss Bones.
Yes.
Thank you, Lebo, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here.
It's so amazing to be in your presence because when I think about a trombone, it's like a child. It's a big instrument.
Yeah.
So where do you start with selecting the instrument? Where are you? How old are you? How are you taking on such a big instrument?
Okay, so I'm 10 years old. I'm in grade 4, and what was then standard 2.
Okay.
And they're helping us choose instruments after they told us, like, okay, you are musical. And so I was in a saxophone room with clarinets, and I remember just hearing the sound that was being played by the brass teacher in the next room. It was a Russian guy, Mr. Igor Vasiliev. And I was like tapping the teacher saying, I want to go there, wherever that sound is, next door. And I remember her taking me in there, and he was demonstrating the trombone. And I was like, that's the sound I want.
And so you're describing to me the process of your selection, and you're saying to me, Mr. Who and Mr. from Russia. I mean, this sounds like a very exclusive place that you went to. Tell us about your schooling.
Not so exclusive. I mean, it was a girls' school in Port Elizabeth, called Collegiate.
Collegiate,
yeah.
Yes.
So I was in Collegiate Primary,
Yes.
and there's also a high school.
Okay.
So in primary, when I entered the school, I started there grade 4.
Okay, so you started collegiate at grade 4, and then you move up, and then you're 13 years old, and now you're entering into the next phase of high school, and still you're so loyal to the trombone, and you do you carry on playing the trombone, and then you finish your coursing in school, and then what do you decide to do?
I decided to go study trombone, jazz
Further,
studies.
you take it further, and specifically jazz. So when I listen to the trombone, Lebs, I hear it's almost comical, and it's very happy and happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
But then it can also be very, very, very sad. So tell me, what is your favorite type or way of playing the trombone? Which direction do you take when you're playing the trombone?
Oh, all the ways.
All the way.
Ha ha ha, funny. Let's laugh about it.
Yes.
Let's be sad. Let's be sexy. Let's
Okay.
be, everything. I actually like playing different genres.
Okay.
So, but I mix it up. So jazz, hip hop, neo soul.
Yes.
Like I'm floating in between those. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the trombone is that versatile.
It's very versatile. And then I've done a little bit of research just in terms of the music that you've done, and oh my gosh, your biography is fantastic. And the thing about an instrumental player is you guys are always behind the scenes, And I just realized now, doing some research on you, that you did some songs with Kabomu, and I heard you come through on the song Busisiwe. That's where I heard you, and I was like, this is what it sounds like. And the difference that comes through when you're playing that song.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who else you collabed with?
Oh man, sure. Live or in studio?
Just in general.
Just in general.
Just in general. Name drop.
Name drop. I've done some things like with WHP. WHP was actually my first real career thing. I'm a muser. I'm everywhere. I'm on stage.
Yes.
When he started his all-girl band.
Okay.
When he was performing live.
Yes.
So I started with Jabba there.
Okay.
And we were just touring around South Africa, just playing, And then after that, I did Cape Town Jazz with Thandi Somazwai.
Yes.
Yes. I did a Ringo. Yes, man. I don't it's hard to remember, but yeah.
But can you see what I mean when I say you guys are always in the back? And when you're taking this, so when you're in varsity and you decide, I'm going to carry on in the musical direction, right? And that's what my career is going to be. What is it that's going through your mind in terms of what it is you're going to become? How do you vision yourself in the future after you've completed your studies? What is it that you told yourself you would become?
Yeah, at first, first of all, I was like, I don't want to be famous.
Okay.
I want to drop albums.
Okay.
I want to drop other people's albums because I love arranging.
All right.
Right. I love arranging music. I love scoring music.
Okay.
I love sessioning. I love bringing someone else's song to life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where
Yes.
I love what they call horns are, it's accessories. So I love accessorizing
Yes.
the songs, the music, to
Yes,
make
yes.
it that much more
Okay, so you didn't want to be in the front. You always wanted to be in the back, and you wanted to coordinate everything. And I think your wording that you used was just fantastic. But tell us, you also played in the SA military band?
Yes, I did. So that was something I had to fulfill because when I was playing the trombone and I was a young kid, I
Yes.
loved watching like movies with like military bands in them.
Yes.
And because I was classically trained,
Okay.
initially I started with classical music. So I was bored, right? By
Yes.
classical music because you can't express yourself really. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
It's very stiff and
Yes.
rigid and you have to play a certain way. But I used to watch these military bands and go, yes, I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. It was like, I just have to go through this first.
Okay.
You know, and I had an end date, like an end, you know, where I'll stop and then I'll move on.
Move on again.
Yeah.
Gosh, it sounds like you had everything orchestrated. It
could
really
say
sounds
that.
like you had your life planned.
Yes, I'm
and
that
then
kind of person.
the other thing I found out about you was that then you moved on to, which is a completely different aspect. You did her artistry.
Yes.
And you collabed with the Goethe Institute. And
Yes.
tell us about that. What was that about? Where did that come from?
Man, that was me leaving the military and going on to the next part, right,
Okay.
of what I want to do. And you know, when you decide what is your cause, what is your purpose, what is your intention?
Yes.
And my intention was in the music industry, I just want to make an impact, right? Be it in the background or whatever, but I never just wanted to be in the front. So I was like, as a woman in music, I've had so many experiences where people have undermined my skills because I'm a woman. So it's like they see me with the trombone and they're like, is she gonna play that thing?
Yeah.
Is that you? Let's hear. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, you know, that's not nice.
Yes.
But yeah, going through all of that, bookings, other musicians, just feeling like you're always doubted when you're a woman. And so with one of my best friends, Lebo,
Okay.
we, you know, we're always talking about these issues and we're like, okay, let's start something.
Yes.
Her artistry. So she had her idea, I had my idea, and we're like, let's just put it together and just push women
Yes.
forward. Yeah.
And then you get hit by this whole pandemic of corona. And how does that affect you as an artist?
Yeah.
And also just in terms of being sustainable in your own capacity, in terms of you making sure that you can provide for yourself.
Yeah. So that's what happened. As her artistry was going, we're getting gigs for like female artists because that's what we do. We book shows, right? So COVID killed all the shows, killed all the events. So it's like, all right, so we can't do this yet. We have to put it on the side and put all our projects aside and survive. So I started focusing on, because I was also teaching music.
Okay.
But it was like just on the side, just starting out, whatever.
Yes.
And then I decided, okay, I need to push this now to the front because I can teach digitally.
Yes.
And I've been teaching digitally, so I expanded on that and grew my teaching business, which has like grown now. Like COVID was like, okay, so a blessing on the side, you know?
On the side.
Yeah, I started getting more students, more requests. So I really focused on that.
How does Lebo then get her sound and her skill over and across the borders of just South Africa? What is it that you think you can do?
Phew, that's a hard one because South Africa digitally, right, we're not that great at being online.
Yes.
We're really not. There's so many things that are missing for the music industry that we need as artists online to first of all help us get online.
Mention those things. What are those things that you think you need?
What can I say? Online programs, online training, online anything that has to do with the SA artist. If you go Google it now, you won't find it. You'll find like American or European things. You understand that will help an artist, but you can't relate to that because that's not your industry. And the things they talk about, you read it as much as they're similar, it won't really work for you here at home. So it's not designed for it to work here in South Africa. And so we need a lot more of that. We need a lot more of digital training, a lot more of being able to perform digitally and have it really work out for us, you know, because right now it's not that feasible. Without sponsorship, without funding, online performing it doesn't pay as much as you are live in a venue with the audience and everyone's paying whatever they're paying at the door and, you know, it's a show.
Lebo, you are
different.
Blowing my mind because essentially what you're saying, and this has been said in previous interviews, is that you have to be almost a jack of all trades as an artist, because you're constantly trying to diversify yourself and you're constantly trying to reach new crowds. And how do you do that, especially in terms of gaining new crowds? How do you get that?
Gaining new crowds. I'm not that focused on gaining new crowds. I'm focused on getting new clients.
Okay, and how do you go about doing that?
New students. I'm online with my brand. I talk. I've had word of mouth. I let my results speak for themselves. But honestly, digitally, it hasn't helped as much as word of mouth has helped.
As word of mouth has helped. Hey?
Yeah.
So it's still the one and ongoing source of marketing is the
Yes,
word of
because South Africans, we're not that digitally inclined. Like, I mean, living in the world of digital. You know, we're not there yet.
So now the little girl who's sitting at home is saying, "Oh, wait in Lebo, but I don't know where to go. Where's the first direction I go into in terms of where do I start off in terms of getting the instrument? Because I saw the pricing of these things. It's not a joke. And not everybody has access to schooling to get that as a free opportunity, you know, to experience the instrument. So now, how do I get myself as a little girl sitting at home, looking at this Lebo, where do I start if I want to be a trombone player?
If you want to be a trombone player, start listening first to the trombone. Understand what it is that you want out of that sound. If you've chosen it, like you're saying, they've chosen the trombone. Start listening and then call me. Call me, I'll teach you how to play trombone. You know, I can't specifically say where you must go, you know, because it's different for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone, there's online courses that you can take online, free or semi-free, where it's like, I know of a udemy.com where they have trombone lessons. You pay $200.
Wow.
For the entire course, access forever type of thing. So you can just Google or come to me and I will help you do that. But it's different for everyone.
I guess so. I really guess so, because like you're saying, one would have to listen to it first and then realize that this is exactly what I want to do. Then the next question. I always find that as artists, right, you find yourself, like you said, you find yourself in the back, you find yourself in the front, and then you sometimes find yourself in a position where you're going, how do I branch out and really stand out as an artist on my own? Has that ever come to your mind?
Yes. In the capacity where I like where I want to be. Yes, of course. You plan, you strategize on where do I want to play, with what kind of musicians do I want to play, what kind of music do I want to play, and you look at who's playing there. You understand? You look at the people who are doing it. So who's playing there, who's playing the kind of music you want, and you start networking in those spaces.
Okay, and then fine, which is excellent. And then in terms of live performances, so now you say to yourself, right, I know I want to work with the likes of Tundi from Azwai or whoever else it could be, and then you decide you want to interact with the audience, you want to perform live. And now with things like Corona going on, you're going to have to go online. And then how does an artist go about getting the right management in terms of having a sustainable career? What are the experiences that you had in terms of management, in terms of money management? What is it that you experienced?
Bad experiences. Management, I mean, has to do with also the kind of artist you want to be. You know what I mean? Are you an artist who wants to run their entire career, right? Being a session musician is different from being a musician who's like in the front, right? I don't need management. So I didn't have to think about who's going to manage my career. I'll manage my own career and grow in the way I want to grow. But it's difficult.
Lebo, it sounds very difficult. Because
management is hard. Good management is hard to come by. Just management in general is hard to come by. There's a lot of work that South Africa needs to do. I don't know how many musicians would agree with me, but in all honesty, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, because
as South Africa as a whole, or
in South Africa, in the South African music industry as well, because when people think of musicians, first of all, they're thinking fame, front, fortune. I always get asked, when are you dropping your album? And I'm like, who said I want to drop an album? So how do you make money? How come you're working? I'm like, I'm making money, I'm living because I chose a certain part of the industry. There's songwriters, there's arrangers, there are composers, there's film music, there's a lot of things within the music industry. right? That you can choose as a career. So management and all of that, it depends on what kind of artist you want to be.
So if you were in a position where you could change just a few things, namely 3 things in the music industry, what do you think that would be?
I know them exactly.
Okay.
The first, most fundamental thing that I would change is how our artists' careers are run. From money to strategizing for your career to even picking where you want to fit in your career.
Really?
Yeah, we don't have a solid structure that says I am making a living from being a songwriter. It's not there, like out in our faces. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm making a solid career as an arranger. That is my career as an artist.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We don't have those. And then a lot of our artists die broke. Okay. You know, you watch them make a lot of money and you're like, where's that money?
But whose responsibility do you think
gone.
that is? Do you think
It's the artist.
It's the artist's responsibility.
It's the artist's responsibility, but also it's arts and culture's responsibility in a way as well, because you've said you're the department that we can come to for all of these things.
Yes.
So there's some education that needs to be trained, like COVID. Yeah. Why were artists broke? Why were artists having to fight for money?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Why aren't there structures in place where we as artists have UIF? All these things that normal people have in their jobs, right? Yes. Tax, all of these things. But it starts with being guided and being helped to listen. If you pay your tax, this is what happens. You have UIF, you have to have this, you have to have this. Your budget, your blah, blah. Those things are not happening.
So, Lebo, we spoke about the issue at hand here, right? Managers go to school and they study how to manage artists or whatever it is, whatever item they're going to be dealing with or services. And people who've got the talent sometimes make it through to varsity and are able then to study and further their talent. Where do we put the middle guy that's going to resolve the issues that usually take place between manager and artists? Who is that? Whose onus is that? Where do we leave that responsibility?
Sure. I honestly, I can't answer that for you right now. No, I don't know. But what I do know is that because the world is a digital world, all right, we need to have training programs for artists where, how can I say this, where we are able to literally run our careers digitally. All right. And by digital, I don't mean some magnificent thing like it takes a phone. Just to understand the full capacity of running your office on your phone. You don't need a laptop. You don't need anything. Yes. But you could run your career, record all your things. Admin, everything is right here in the palm of your hands. Right. But you're not going to do something you don't know anything about. Right. Yes. If you don't know what apps to use, who uses those apps, how to use those apps, you're never going to know. So that's part of the actual training that I'm developing as a business. It's called the Creatives Wellness Program. Okay. Where I'm just developing material that's just gonna help artists. Like, it's not even about money. I'm not doing it for money. Okay. It's free. It's gonna be there, free for you to use at your own will.
So artists are no longer allowed to say that they're dying broke because the information is out there. Yes. And I think as South Africans especially, we have to learn from the people who have gone before us. Having said that, Lebo, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
That kind of legacy. I want to leave a legacy where I came in, I saw what was wrong, and I added my own solution. You know, I gave something from everything that I've learned. Because as I'm learning, I'm a sharer. I love sharing the knowledge that I'm learning. So to discover that there's a lot of things that I didn't know, right? And to discover them and to sit in front of that computer and just, I'm going at it and I'm learning so many things. And I just want to share that. And it's like, oh, this is what all these successful musicians are doing. Yes. This is why they're not dying broke. Yes. They don't have managers. It's not all glitz and all of that, but they're living their lives and they're making money. How are they doing that? Yeah. And in finding that out, I just want to share that. Put it online as a South African, platform for artists to use. Free.
Wow.
For free.
Wow, that's fantastic. Guys, you've heard it all from Lebo, Miss Bones, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for leaving us with the element of sharing. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us today here at the Green Room. Once again, I'm Danielle, and we've been left with an element of sharing by Lebo, Miss Bones.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week, and please do join us once again here in the Green Room.